So here is my simple star rating template. And here is the data where I have used this formula to create star rating.
Are you one of those people who love to present their data in a better way? Well, today I have an amazing trick for you to create a star rating template in Excel. So instead of showing boring numbers, you can actually create a star rating template in Excel and show the actual stars instead of those numbers. So make sure to watch this video till the end. And now let's get started.
All right, so now it's time to understand how this formula actually works. So let me copy this formula from here and paste it this cell as well. Now, when I edit this formula, you can see I have three different parts within this formula. Now, three parts of this formula works collectively to give me these stars based on the value that I enter in the cell P2. Now, the first part of the formula gives me the complete stars. So when I enter the value 3.5, that means I have three filled stars and one half filled star and then one blank star. So the first part gives me the complete 3 stars for this value. And the second part gives me the half filled star. You can see the star I'm using in all of these three parts are different. Here I have the filled one, here I have the half filled one or half blank, and here I have the totally blank star. Now in the first part of the formula, when I use int within the REPT function, so this int function converts my 3.5, the value, into 3. So basically it removes the fractional part from the number and returns only the whole number. So let me press F9 and show you the result I'm getting from int. So here I have 3 from this value 3.5, and that is why in the first part the REPT function returns 3 complete stars. Now let's move to the second part of the formula where I have again REPT function, and this REPT function, as I said, returns the half filled star. So here again I'm using int function, but instead of having a whole number, here I'm getting the fractional part of the rating. So when I minus int b1 from the actual b1, what I get is the fractional part of the number. So let me press F9 to show you. So I'm getting here 0.5. So this is the rest of the number that left after 3. And after that, I have this condition that tests if there is a fractional part is there or not. So if there is a fractional part, it will return true. Otherwise, it will return false. So when I have 3.5, that means I have a fractional part, and that is why I am getting here a true value. Now, here one thing that you need to know, that whenever you have true, the numeric value of true is 1 and the numeric value of false is 0. So when I have true, that means I have 1, and that is why the REPT function will return 1 half filled star in return. But if I have, let me change it from here. If I have a whole number, a complete rating of 3, and now if I try to show you what I get in return after deducting, I have 0. And that is why when I test this condition, I get false. And in this case, the REPT function will not return any half filled star because I don't need a half filled star because my rating is complete number. But if I move from 3 to 3.5, you can see I have 0.5 here. And because I'm testing this condition here, 0.5 or greater than 0.5, I get true. And that is why this rep function will return 1 half filled star. Now in the last part of this formula, I have again the rep function, but to get the unfilled, or I would say blank stars. So what happens is when I use int and I'm deducting the value in the b1 from 5, so I get the remaining value, which is the rest part of the rating. So if I'm giving 3.5 to someone, that means there is a gap of 1.5, and that is what I'm getting by deducting from the 5, because that is the highest rating I have. So when I press F9, it returns 1.5. That is the rest part from 3.5. And when I use int, it removes the fractional part from 1.5. And what I left with is just 1. And then the rep function returns the exact same number of stars using this actual value. So if I have, let's say, 2.5, and then I go back and show you, I get 2.5, and then INT converts it into 2, and I get 2 blank stars, unfilled stars. Let me show you stars from all the 3 parts. These are the filled one, and this is the half filled. That means 2.5. And here I have 2 stars which are unfilled, blank stars. And this is how this formula works. Now there's one change that I have made to this formula. The final change is that I have wrapped this formula with an if statement. So reason is, if somehow I enter rating above 5, let's say 5.5, so the initial formula will return an error, because this formula is basically written to capture the rating up to 5. And here I'm using this if statement, wrapping this, this formula with if statement. And if I enter anything above 5, this formula will return, this is an invalid rating. You can use any message, but I'm using this invalid rating here. Now, the thing is, if you want to have rating up to 10, let's say, if I want to have rating up to 10, in that case, I need to make a little bit change in this formula. So what I'll do, let me copy this formula from here and let me enter it here. All right, so now in this formula, there are only few things that I need to change. The first is, instead of using 5, I'm going to enter 10. And here in this part of the formula, I will change 5 to 10. That's it. So now you can see I have rating based on total 10 stars. So if I enter 6.5, it gives me 6 complete stars, 1 half, and 3 blank stars, unfilled stars. So this is the actual formula that I was using, and this formula is with the if statement, where I will get invalid rating message if I enter anything above 5. And this formula is basically covers the entire 10 stars.